What's up, everybody? Matt Nuzzo. We're here at Reel to talk to you about the new Slingshot wingy thingy called the Dart. So Slingshot Dart is aptly named because you look at this thing and it looks like a piercing arrow dart. We've been seeing these things for quite a while during the R&D process with the Spencer's brothers, Finn and Jeffrey Spencer. Those guys are absolute beasts on the wing, and on anything foil, they're absolutely killing it. Surfoiling, winging, like they're just going totally bananas. So this was designed in the gorge in Maui. It's designed for high winds. So it comes in a 3.0, a 4.0, 4.5, and a 5.0. You know, really when we go through design features, you can see it's quite a bit different than the Slingwing V2, and it's designed to go in conjunction with the Slingwing V2. It's made for a different customer, made for a different riding, and the person that wants this is someone that's riding in real high-powered conditions and wants really high performance for boosting, freestyle, doing tricks and things like that. That's going to be a more intermediate to advanced rider. So Dart, when you first take a look at it, this thing's got this big, weird leading edge that's like, it's just different, you know? Anything different always seems a little weird, you know? And James, I know we saw this thing, we're like, what is this thing,
right,
you know?
Yeah.
So tell us your first impressions. Like, you've been riding the Slingwing a lot and ripping on it, you know? So you got on the Dart, like, what did you notice?
Yeah, well, after going from the Slingwing V2 and hanging out with the Spencer brothers and seeing the stuff that they were doing on a wing, which just seemed like impossible, picking this thing up for the first time and really getting to ride it, it's a totally different feel and experience than the V2. You know, the first thing I really noticed about it when I tried my first jump was how much higher it gets you when you jump. I mean, you can go so much lift,
right? Yeah.
And then on the windy days when you do jump up that high, another thing I noticed about it is that it really helps kind of parachute you and bring you back down smoothly.
I think part of that has to do with like the frame. I mean, when you look at this, it's got tons of dihedral to it, right? There's like tons of V in it,
right?
Forward V and dihedral, but the frame is significantly stiffer than the Slingwing. Like the Slingwing's a flatter profile, and when you flex it, you get this kind, like you pump it, it's got this kind of natural flex, which it gets you going, which gets you in rhythm. Where this one is like you shoot in, you've got straight power, like boom, like you feel it, and then your gust hits, you don't feel the gust kind of flex the wing at all, like it translates, everything translates. So when you hook it up and jump and you're really flexing that wing, it feels really solid in the air and good hang time. I agree with that.
Right, yeah, really stable through gusts. It really just eats gusts and you don't even feel the difference. But yeah, with boosting, just really next level with this wing compared to the V2. Not taken away from the V2, just, this is just different purpose, right?
Yeah. And what I found too with the Dart was that the handle placement was quite a bit different too than what, like it has 4 handles and it has these Y handles. Like when I was riding it, I'm used to riding kind of my forward hand here or on the Ys. The Y I kind of felt was like an afterthought. Like we kind of talked about, like, I think they kind of added the Y just because it has to have Y handles to make it work, but really the Y handles felt like didn't really serve me as well as other Y handles have, whereas these handles were great. So if I was, on the front one and here, you've got a lot less power. And then when you move back, which this felt like it was really too far back at first, just because I'm not used to using this back handle, but compared to other wings, it didn't backwind. Like it just gave you like a wing size larger, right? So the other day when we were riding, we were testing back and forth, like I grabbed the front handles and it took a little bit to get going, and I was like, apprehensive to grab these back handles because I normally don't ride the wing that far back because it makes them backwind and feel less stable. Whereas like I was riding and I was like, it kind of feels a little underpowered and it's blowing like 30, I was like, what's the deal? Then I went to these handles and I was fully jacked up, but it wasn't inconsistent. It just felt like real stable power. So it was cool to have, basically 2 wing sizes just by moving your handles fore or aft. I was like, man, this is a huge feature, and I could tell this was made in Maui, because in Maui it's like 25 1 minute and 35 the next.
Right.
And so you watch those guys are riding these wings that it's just freaking ripping out, and that's how they can handle these wing sizes and to ride more powered, is you can go cruise around on your front wings, and then when you're ready to jump, move your hands back, boom, you get that extra lift and pop.
Exactly.
And then, the other thing we were talking about is that, the not making it the best, that's why we're saying more intermediate, is that flipping over, it's hard, right? You try and flip this wing from here, there's so much dihedral, it just does not want to connect. Right? But when you flip it from here, it flips over pretty easily. And then we found for the prone start, this thing, like just like that one's over there, they just stand up in the water. It's really solid, so it's kind of like a tripod.
Right.
You know, so when we were prone starting, you know, on the board, you're sunk on the board, you just kind of wait for the gust, boom, sheet in, and you pop the thing right up. So I was definitely really impressed. Like, compared to the sling wing, the only difference where I think the sling wing's got is going off the wind. Like, the sling wing with this flatter profile and lighter weight feel just luffs out so easily.
Right.
Right, when you're on a swell, like, the thing just completely disappears. Like, it feels super light and luffs out, whereas this is a heavier build, and it's a little more technical to luff it out. It does not want to it doesn't just immediately balance. It's a little surprising to me, but again, it's made for the type of rider that knows how to do that. Because I watch the Spencers and they're just like, and I watch you ride it and you're just like cruising, you know?
Right.
Whereas I'm not as good as you guys, where I was like, oh, it's a little harder to wave ride with it, but tricks, jumping, and all that were awesome. And so I prefer the, you know, for high wind, I think this is a better high wind wing, and then lighter wind, I was liking the sling wing, you know? So it's kind of just like, you know, just like in their kite range, like the turbines are a light wind kite, and then, you know, you might ride the SST once it gets windy, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I've been super impressed with this. What else are you noticing and feeling about the Dart here?
Yeah, you know, just for me, I basically look at the conditions and pick the best gear for that day. So I'm gonna choose out one day and I'm gonna ride the Dart on a windier day when now, you know, I wanna go practice jumps.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Spencer landed the first backflip with a Dart. So, you know, this thing is literally leading the progression of freestyle winging.
Right.
So it's cool to have my hands on one, and I've already felt like I've progressed so much just by getting a couple reps on the Dart, you know, in freestyle.
So
yeah.
what you're telling me is that if I ride the Darts, I can do a backflip?
Yes.
Okay,
Allegedly.
there it is. You ride the Darts, you're gonna do a backflip, and maybe some other crazy stuff that we don't even know is there yet. So you got anything else on the Dart, James?
You know, I'm just stoked to see what the Dart is going to allow riders to do in the next few weeks and months, because I think it's the freestyle wing, best one on the market right now. So
yeah, that huge wind range, super balanced, really solid frame, really solid slingshot build and framework. Fired up on the Dart. If you have more questions, find out what wing's right for you, give us a call at the shop, 252-987-6000, or reach out online, realwatersports.com. See you guys on the water.